it's time to look at another 40 stages. Um, there's a bunch of stages I like in this batch, but there's also not many that I think are worthy of stage surgery, which is like the secondary purpose of the series. So, I don't know how many of these are going to be showing up afterwards as stage surgeries, but whatever. Okay, so Noslan put out these 5 stages recently. He's got 4 separate GTA stages and 1 Cyberpunk stage. Now, like, okay, so this one is stage 2 of San Andreas. Um, the scale is definitely off. I expected it to be a lot worse, honestly. You can never tell until you get the stage, like, actually open and look at it. But I expected this just to be a very low-res screenshot that probably was going to look horrible, but thankfully it's high-res. But the scaling is crazy off. So, if anything was to be done with it, it'd be, scaling. But we do have some issues of frozen animation in the sky. Like if a plane wasn't going by, it'd probably look better. Okay, we have GTA 5 Stage 2. And once again, thankfully, it's a much higher res screenshot than I expected. But once again, scaling is way off. Like by the time I walked to that building over there, I'd be like an ant. So yeah, Noslan needs to work on his scaling a bit. If it's possible to take even better screenshots, I would advise that as well. Okay, we have GTA 5 Road Stage. Now, we got some frozen animation with the cars in the background, and probably a bunch of stuff that I can barely see because of, like, the lighting makes it hard to see in this stage. There's also, like, a building or something peeking out that, like, has this, like, kind of, like, whitish line. But I'm pretty sure it's just, like, the side of a building that's peeking out. All the text on the stage is backwards, which makes me think this image got flipped at some point. I'm not sure why he would do that, but it is something I noticed. There's also a bird frozen in the sky back there. I don't even know how you would take like a very good GTA 5 picture. It would have to be very carefully done to not get any frozen animations in and still be a good like scaling and everything. Pretty sure it can be done. It just seems like it'd be pretty hard. Okay, GtaSanRoads. Once again, scaling is way off. This cop is standing still, so he's not that big of a deal as far as frozen animations go. But the big problem is, once again, the scaling. Like, look, this is the side of a curb. Like, I'm like the size of a toy. Like, you put like a Toy Story character in the stage. Anyway, same sort of deal. Like, I don't know how well these screenshots really work as Mugen stages to begin with. Okay, this is Noslan's Cyberpunk stage. Once again, we got a much higher res screenshot than I was expecting. But once again, scale is an issue. Like if I walked anywhere in the background, our characters, we'd be super tiny by the time we got there. We got a bit of a frozen animation with this guy in the what is that, a bus stop? Is it some kind of food booth? I don't know if this car is driving by or is parked or not, but also the angle is kind of weird. It's not like a deal breaker, the angle. And also we're practically off the screen. We are so low. I'm pretty sure he put the Z off spot that low. So like we wouldn't walk into this pole. But really you should have like probably just taken a screenshot where the pole wouldn't have been an issue. Okay, Murfo made this stage from Castle Cat 3 called Venetian. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be in a boat on the Venice Canal. Like this little brown thing, and we're like, oh god, they're not called canoes, but I can't remember what they are called right now. But we're on a little boat, and like I'm pretty sure like Venice. There's a lot to like about this stage, but it's just not quite cutting it for me. I feel like if the water was animated and the boat was a little bit more obviously a boat instead of looking like we're behind a brown block. Like if everything was a little bit more clear about what it was. Also, this pole should be behind us, not in front of us. Because obviously the pole is behind the boat, and we're in the boat, so the pole should be behind us. Anyway. Yeah, this is going to be a pass for me, but just barely. I like the idea of it, at least. Okay, this stage is from Living Legends. It's by WagnerPlagues. And we got a nice picture. There's a little bit of a frozen animation problem with this flame. My real beef with the stage is actually the snow effect itself, like the way it moves back and forth with you looks kind of odd. It probably should be like closer to being like stable and a very subtle movement if it's moving at all. But otherwise, it's pretty nice. Kenjou lirt made these Yakuza stages. Let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. Is that Isezaki Ijincho? And there's a zoom version and a non-zoom version, and there is a minor difference with them. That's why I'll show off both. So in the zoom version here, we can walk far enough to see this pole and walk behind it. And like on the other side, same deal. But on the non-zoom version, we can't even see over there at all. Like, I'm not sure why he coded it that way. But beyond that issue, I think the stage is actually really nice. I don't even know where he got all these sprites from. I'm like pretty sure they didn't actually come from Yakuza. But they're not clashing enough with the background that you could believe that they matched Yakuza. So, and it's very high res and nice. I probably will be keeping the zoom version of this stage. I like this quite a bit, and we always could use a better Yakuza rep in Mugen. Manny Lingle made this Among Us stage, Among Us the Skeld Cafeteria. Now, the stage isn't what I was expecting, but the good side is it actually kind of works. If we're just standing in front of this monitor of the cafeteria room, and that kind of works, and this could make a very good stage to put one of the many Among Us characters that exist for Mugen. So I think I will be keeping this. This stage is by yakisobaUFQ. It's from Phantasy Star Online 2. Large enemy battleship power reactor. That's a mouthful. And we got this nice high-res animated background. And I like this quite a bit. Maybe zoom could be added to it because it's got a lot of stage area that could be displayed a little bit better. But I like it quite a bit. I think it makes a nice stage for like cyber-themed characters or space characters. So yeah, I'll be keeping this. Okay, this stage is from Hero Versus. It's by Nero and Insigniawarfare. Hero versus ShaolinOut. Now, I'm not familiar with Hero Versus, but man, these cars, is this like a car advertisement game? These cars look a little too good. Like they looked a little bit too much like a real car. This stage is actually really nice. Maybe I'd change the resolution on it, but otherwise I think it's pretty damn good. There's a minor, very minor, what looks like a void line at the top, but it could just be like the sky darkening just ever so slightly by the time they get there. I don't know. It doesn't look quite black enough to be a actual void line, but it serves a similar purpose of looking like one, so I'd have to take that out or trim that off if I did anything with this stage. Now, since we go in reverse order in this series and we go down the list instead of up the list, sometimes we'll find older versions of stages that we've already looked at. And this is one of those cases, like we already looked at Rainy District in the last video. So here's an older version of Rainy District by WagnerPlagues. Okay, so I had to dig out the old version to see what was different. And so the only real difference that I'm seeing between this version and the one we already looked at in the last video is the newer version of the stage has lightning flashes and this one doesn't. So if you felt so inclined to keep both versions, that's what would be missing. This one doesn't have the like flash every few moments that indicates lightning. Okay, this stage is also by WagnerPlagues. It just says it's from a mobile game, Buddha Shrine. Now it's pretty much just a nice high-res picture of a Buddha statue. It works pretty damn well as a Mugen stage. You could just put some very like heavy martial arts themed character here, and it would work just fine. KMaster64 made this custom stage based on Desert Bus. Tucson to Vegas. Now, this is based on that infamous meme game Desert Bus, or more specifically Desert Bus VR. That's why there's this weird head. And but I really think this is just like a recolored stage from a beat 'em up. I don't remember which beat 'em up, but I recognize this as a beat 'em up stage. Uh, there is a couple issues in the stage. You can see me like trying to walk to the right as Kung Fu Man right now, and I'm hitting an invisible wall. Now the reason he did that is so I wouldn't walk outside the bus over here. But there's a better way to code it so like you can have the best of both worlds, so that like I won't walk outside the bus, and I also won't get trapped in a super tight bound. Another issue with the stage is if we watch the clouds in the background and when we jump, they like move downward instead of upward. Well, it makes it looks like the stage is compressing in effect, which is what definitely we don't want that. I don't know how I feel about this stage though. Like I don't think I'd keep it myself, but if somebody wants me to like fix this stage up, I will listen and go do it. So yeah, let me know if you want a stage surgery on this stage. Obsidian Plague made this Pizza Tower stage, Pizza Tower Golf. And if people have been following this channel, they can probably predict what I'm about to say. But I've already made like 3 separate Pizza Tower Golf stages. So my advice is probably going to obviously be just go download the one that I made. Anyway, let's talk about the stage itself. Okay, first off, the scale is off. Like, let's say Peppino from Pizza Tower is 2 blocks tall. Meaning, even if you got the Peppino character in this stage, I think he's a little bit bigger than Gombi. You'd be a little bit too tall. So, scales off. The floor is supposed to be a platform floor, but we're like sinking down into it, so the Z offset would have to be moved up. I don't really care for the resolution either. Also, we're walking into the walls that are on the sides of the stage, so that's also another issue. We don't want to walk into the wall. But yeah, just go download the ones I made. And I know that's what people like. The actual creator of the stage doesn't want to hear me like tell people to just ignore his stage and go download mine, but that is my opinion. Okay, Murfo made this stage from the Pink Knight called Arena. Now, the first thing I noticed was there's like it's probably impossible to see on this YouTube video, but there's like this gray dot floating pixel just hanging up in the sky that if you move back and forth in the background, you can just kind of see it floating up there. And the reason it's there is because this wasn't ripped too well from like the transparency. So yeah, this wasn't like trimmed very well from its like source. So it's kind of this nasty, dirty look to it that we don't want in our stages. That's the only real issue. Like if we had a character that was very specific from this game, what was it, the Pink Knight? I'd consider keeping this stage for that reason if I didn't have anything better. Look, we're like practically walking off the stage over here on the right. But otherwise, I'm not keeping it. Emmanuel Mugen made this Henry Stickmin stage, Conclusive Battle. Now, we could obviously have a chunk of exposed void on the bottom, but we have another issue. This is another case of the top seems to be pasted onto the stage seems to be pasted on top of itself. Yeah, if we look up here, it's just like the top is, or the stage is just repeating up top. Now, maybe in Henry Stickmin, the floor is identical and does sort of loop that way. But I think this really is just a case of the stage is pasted on top of each of itself. But I could be wrong. Either way, it doesn't look too hot. So I'm guessing the scaling would have to be increased to make this very tiny picture to fill the whole screen. But unless specifically requested, I'm not going to bother. CLDZ made 3 separate stages from Phantom Brave. We meet again. We got Island of Evil, Island of Evil, and Island of Evil. So yeah, like 1, 2, and 3. Now, on the first Island of Evil here, it has a pretty much like a good sky for super jumping. But the other 2 are pretty tight stages as far as vertical goes. So I don't know like why only this one has a high sky and the other two don't. Maybe the other two backgrounds come from cutscenes or something where like you couldn't see the sky, or maybe he just didn't rip them the other two right. But beyond that, these three stages from Phantom Brave work pretty well as Mugen stages. Like you could just put some like evil themed characters on these three stages, and they'd work really well. Let me show off the other two. Okay, this is Island of Evil with two L's. And once again, this looks really nice as a Mugen background, even if it is static. Yeah, you can see what I was saying about like there isn't much sky on the other two. And here's Island of Evil with three L's. Once again, put it like a demonic character in here and it works just fine. Okay, Gokuru's made this Nekapara stage. I assume this is from some sort of like platform fighter like Smash Brothers, where you could jump on top of the chocolate bar above this cake and walk up there and fight. I don't know that for sure, it's just a guess. But this stage has a few issues. One of them is the starting positions. Like, we're super far apart. Like, most intros would be broken by being this far apart. And the floor has a sliding floor, as you can see if you watch Kung Fu Manny, sliding back and forth. And he's even sinking too, so it has a sinking floor as well. We don't want either of those, so if I was going to like stage surgery this, I'd have to clean up both of those issues. I'd probably change the resolution too, because like from my point of view, it's like super zoomed in. But that's all I have to say about this one for now. Zachary made this Among Us stage, Among Us base. And we've got walking on a picture syndrome pretty badly. Okay, so this is clearly just a picture and not really a good fit for a Mugen stage. And I've got frozen animations all over this place, like the snow falling, this thing would probably be sparking. Is there a bigger frozen animation example than a guy trapped in mid-stride? And even the snowman guy probably would have like an animation of like moving his hands up and down, smoothing the snowman out. Anyway, not really fit for a Mugen stage and basically a no-hoper in my opinion. Sans2345 made this stage called Take the Dead 2. I have no idea what it's from. It's just a static picture of a skull face and the words Take the Dead 2 over and over. And if we jump up top, we can see that it's pasted on top of itself, which means he didn't realize the tutorial text had active code in it. So, rookie mistake there. Yeah, this is not a good Mugen stage, or doesn't really work as a Mugen stage. Maybe if the text was animated and it had a floor, that'd be a different, be a whole different ball game. But as is, it's not really working for me. CLDZ made this Project X Zone stage, Battleship. Now, let me preface by saying I really like this stage. I think this is like really nice. I did find a flaw in it though. If you watch the background about here where the sky meets the ship, and if we jump up really high, we can start to see exposed void peek out from the bottom. So that would have to be tightened up so it doesn't pull up as hard to reveal the exposed void, or even just edit the art to make more white down there. Though my original solution of just making it so it doesn't pull up as high is probably the better solution. I like the stage enough that I kind of want to make a surgery just to fix that one little issue. I don't think CLTC speaks English, but I really like the idea of somebody making Project X Zone 2 stages, which he's put out about 4 of them that are in this video. Okay, Murfo made this stage from Lethal League called Outskirts. And the starting positions are messed up. No way I should be that far away from my opponent. He did a good job stopping me from walking to the left and right without breaking it so I don't get trapped on like a tight bound. However, the bound is almost too loose. Like I'm walking off the screen, or Kung Fu Man's like walking off the screen. If I had another like nitpick, it's that I think the shadows should be a little tighter so they don't look like they're going over the edge, even though he did make them disappear so they wouldn't go fully over the edge. Is it worthy of stage surgery though? That's the big question. Like those flaws that I just mentioned, they're very minor in my opinion. I like to make sure I'm doing quite a bit or fixing a pretty big issue when I do a stage surgery. Like I'll probably keep this, but whether I release it as a stage surgery, I don't know. Cater 15 made this Freedom Planet 2 stage, Dragon Valley. Now, I usually say this every time with Cater 15's Freedom Planet stages, but I like this quite a lot, and it's a definite keeper for me. The only thing I could even find close to being an issue was like when you jump, the background, like the mid background, pulls up a lot harder than like the far background, and it just looks weird. Like it feels like the far background should be pulling up higher or more with more velocity than the mid, but that's not enough for me to release a stage surgery on it or even really mess with it. I'm afraid to mess with the stage because once I start messing with it again, I might cause more problems with exposed void and whatever else. But that's all. Definite keeper for me. Murfo released this Lethal League stage, Room 21. Okay, it's this padded cell that we're in, and he's coded it correctly so I don't walk off into the walls without it also, having too tight of a bound. I think this stage is actually pretty good, and it'd be nice to put some like psychopath characters in this stage. So like, I don't think we have anything like this currently in my roster that fits this niche. So I'll definitely be keeping this. Okay, Mugen released this Metal Gear stage, but it's already gotten to the point where I don't remember what all I reviewed on these videos. I already have like a copy of this stage, but it is slightly different. Anyway, let's show off this one. Now, we got this really nicely sprited and animated Metal Gear stage based on Shadow Moses, and I have nothing but respect for Mugen for creating this. But as I said, like I already have a copy of this stage, so I had to like dig that out to make sure for comparison. I don't know if I reviewed it on this channel or I just got it off Mugen Fighters Guild forever ago, but let's look at the other version real quick. Okay, so here's the other version of this stage I have by Mugen. So it's a little bit darker, and this one has snow falling. So yeah, that's the two different versions of this Metal Gear stage by Mugen. I like both of them. I'm keeping both of them. And I suggest you do the same. Now, in the last video, we had a different version of the stage. We had a widescreen version of the stage, also by Mugen, Alex Kidd here. And so, yeah, this is the non-widescreen version. We go in reverse order in this series, so that's why we're finding this like a probably older version of the stage in a later video, but here it is. There was an exposed void line on the bottom of the widescreen version. It's not here in this version. So I noticed that, but I also noticed if you look in the upper right corner, and you have to like, I don't know how visible it's going to be in this YouTube video, but there is a like very tiny like white void line, probably because of some background peeking behind the sky background back there. And this up, yeah, so there's that issue. Maybe that was in the other widescreen version as well, and I just didn't see it. But I did think I should point that out. Okay, we got some more Project X Zone 2 stages from CLDZ. We got Hula Grand's Cathedral and a 720p version, which makes it sound like it's just a different resolution, but it is a different stage. Okay, so we got this version. We got the statue, and we got some like, oh god, what they called, but pendulums. Bell pendulums? Bell knockers? Anyway, we got some dangling bell knockers. And we got the statue wrapped up in chains. Now in the other version, yeah, here's the 720p version. The statue is gone. We got different lighting. The altar's been scratched up. And the dangling bell knockers are missing. Clackers. I think they're called clackers. But anyway, I'm keeping both of these. Once again, as I said, I like the idea of having stages from Project X Zone 2. Okay, we got Queen Zenobia's Central Hall, also from Project X Zone 2. We got a giant, like, grandfather clock built into the side of this, like, library or whatever we're at. One Once again, I'm keeping this. I like the idea of having stages from this game. It's got a nice animation. It's high res. I don't see any real issues with it. Vegas Pirelli made this stage based on pro wrestling for the NES. Now, I have issues with this stage, but I do like it. My main issue is the effect of like the ropes. Seems like they should go up a little higher to like this rope here should be like a little like stretched a little bit further to the left to tie into the left this top rope or the top foreground rope, and the little like edge of the mat. So you should be like pulled a little bit tighter to the edges of the rope, so they look a little bit more in line. Because right now it just doesn't look quite right. Yeah, like he's going for this 3D effect, but it doesn't quite work, which happens a lot, I'm afraid. There's no void or anything at the top. We got this like parallax ceiling, which is fine, but it's really just like the parallax effect and the 3D effect on the sides of the mat are kind of messed up, which bugs me, but I wouldn't know how to fix them even if I wanted to. RU Design made these two Grand Theft Auto San Andreas stages, Grove Street SA and then Grove Street SA, but it's really a HUD version, which I'll show off both. So we got this large widescreen high-res picture of Grove Street, but something seems off about it. I think it's like probably a recreation of Grove Street in some other game, probably like Gary's Mod or something. I don't know, but like I don't think these are the actual textures from the PlayStation 2 game, or even the like remaster version that was like on Xbox. I think this is something else entirely, but I could be wrong. The scale feels off, like some things don't feel like they're consistent with each other. Like that bike doesn't seem consistent with CJ over here. Also, there's a pretty noticeable chunk of exposed void in the bottom that doesn't need to be there. Now let me show off the HUD version. Okay, this is called the HUD version. And we now have a bunch of like the Grand Theft Auto HUD elements in our way, basically, instead of helping. So yeah, like I'm now, Gombi's like hiding behind the map. And Kung Fu Man, if he jumps up there, he'll be hidden behind the stat HUD, or the stat UI. Neither of which I think helped the stage by being there. I think they just hurt it. So I would definitely, if I was keeping either of these, which I'm not, I would definitely not go with this one. Okay, Magus 8 made, or Magus 8 made these two stages from the SNES version of Shaq Fu. We got Memphis stage and Beast Lava stage. Okay, this one has void on the top and bottom. And while it's not too bad if you ignore the void, I do wonder if people have probably already adapted this stage from Mugen before. I mean, this is kind of a meme game. I'd have to look into that before I did anything with this, to like make sure somebody else didn't already make a better version of this stage before I went and did any kind of surgery on this. Okay, we got Beast Lava stage. Surprisingly, this one doesn't have void issues considering the other one did by the same creator. I feel like the delta in the background is like pulling a little too hard. But other than that, I don't have that many issues with it. But once again, has someone already made this? Like, it feels like somebody could have already made this easily. If not more than one person already adapted Shaq Fu stages. Val Gala made this Yumi Tuki stage, Viridescent Temple. And this works really nicely as a Mugen stage. It looks really pretty. And I don't see any issues with it. So this is a definite keeper for me. We got another Freedom Planet stage by Cater 15. And I don't see any issues with this stage. It looks like, yes, another great stage by Cater 15 to put your Freedom Planet characters in. I don't know what to say besides that, except like I'm definitely keeping it. Okay, the Super Warrior made this God of War 2 stage, Caverna de Typhon. And is this just a screenshot of an FMV? Like, it does have a floor to walk on, and it doesn't look too bad. But is this really just a screenshot of an FMV? Because that's what the vibe I'm getting here. I don't know the game well enough, but I really doubt there's just like a section where you're walking in front of a statue of this guy. And so if it was a screenshot of FMV, it's really screaming frozen animation. I won't be keeping this, but I don't see that many issues with it, so I'll just say this is definitely one that's going to come down to your personal taste. Okay, Zachary made this stage called Cut the Rope, and it's like you're inside a patchwork cardboard box. We're practically walking off the stage. I feel like the Z offset could be moved up just like ever so slightly. But this stage makes me think of that song "Living in a Box." Ooh, this is a tough call for me. Like I kind of like it, just because it's like nothing is quite like this stage, but it's also very simple in the same time. But I've let that slide before. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards keeping it for now, just as like kind of a joke. Gabe206 made this stage based off a NES bootleg of Angry Birds. But he did not get clean sprites. This looks like video footage screenshots. Like, I don't know why you would do this. I would just get... I don't think... Is it even possible to get clean sprites of this easily? Or would I have to actually go and download the ROM myself to get this? And then again, would that even be worth it? It's not that great. But as is, I'm definitely not keeping this blurry screenshot. Cater15 made these two stages from Prehistoric Man. We got Old Volcano and a version where the volcano is erupting. So here's the version where it's not erupting. Now, I did notice one issue that if you jump up super high and if you watch the background, you can see an exposed void peek up from the middle where the stage meets the floor here. So yeah, if I jump up there and you've watched there, you can see a little like bottom of that peeking out where you shouldn't see. Now here's a version of it where it's erupting. I like this stage quite a bit regardless, but once again we have the exposed void problem peeking out here if we jump high enough. I don't think you really would be jumping this high on normal gameplay, but it is there. Okay, the last stage in this video is by an unknown author. It's Kabuki Joe from Ganbare Gomen 2. Now, what do I say about this stage? First off, there's no technical issues. I'm not having a sliding floor. There's no exposed void. The closest thing to a nitpick would be that my shadow kind of goes over the edge. That's not really worthy of a stage surgery, though. I can't say the scaling's off either, because obviously Kung Fu Man's head isn't even as big as this guy's head in the background. But I kind of assume that guy's bigger than normal anyway, so I can't say the scale is off. Also, there's a bunch of different people scaled at different sizes, so trying to say something in scale is wrong when the scale is all over the place is a waste of time. I'll probably keep this. It's kind of nice and colorful. I kind of like it. I like the animations. So yeah, that's all for this video.